Well, basically, I mean, the idea for the story came out of Liza's kind of, she wanted to do a project that was somehow based at night, and she stumbled upon this camp for these kids who were, in some capacity allergic to light. And it's an oversimplification of the disease, but it's just the easiest way to understand it. And then from that, it was a long process to just gain the trust of the camp owners, because it's a very secretive place for these kids to kind of have a summer camp, experience without the harsh reality that they face on a daily basis because of the disease and just their everyday lives. So that took some time, and I want to say that happened over the course of a year. And then it was a matter of gaining the access to get in there to actually shoot it. And it was shot over the course of about a week. And then there was really no structure to the story yet. It was just a matter of capturing the camp and the inner workings of it. And then we sort of defined the storyline in post, just because it was more the focus was capturing the lifestyle of the camp. There was really no way to figure that out without being immersed in it. There was a lot of vetting that happened with Liza gaining their trust to just be able to come in and capture, the workings of the camp and how special it is to these kids and the families. So it definitely took a while, and it was kind of like a long process for her to just even start to understand the disease. Important at the same time just to be respectful of, the subject that she was capturing. The whole thing takes place at night, which is notoriously bad for video. There was a lot of lack of light, but at the time when the whole project was shot, was when the Sony A7S was kind of getting popular. There was a large amount of trust put in that camera because its ability to see, produce good results in low light conditions is very positive. There was kind of makeshift lighting that they sort of made work, but the majority of the interviews that you see in little bits of here and there are just natural lighting. Prince does a good job of telling stories in a clinical way, whereas capturing this whole camp in a video format was special because you see it with your own eyes, even outside of a photograph, and you see the actual people who take part in it, and you get a real feel of the emotion that's involved and how special it is to them that I don't think you'd be able to capture in a statement in a print article. So during the day, they are still busy doing stuff, but for them, it's like they sleep during the day for the most part. So this is where it's there's varying levels of the disease and different types. So some of them are allergic to sunlight, some of them are allergic to artificial, incandescent, different types of light. So it's kind of a give or take what actually makes them sick. But generally it's a lot of them just have to avoid daylight. The actual budget of the film, I don't know. It was not big, and there really wasn't a predefined budget. It was more of a passion project for everyone. Every story is different, and depending on which direction you go with it, you may need to shoot more, you may need more people, different locations and all that, which adds more money. So it's simply put, it's easy if you're staying within the box that you kind of started with, which is almost never the case. That it's hard to totally quantify the amount of money you'll need to tell the story properly. But the way this project kind of came about and evolved, I think was a really cool process, and personally I wouldn't have done it any other way. It really reads well with people because we made it, and it was a very clear point to make it less of a scientific definition of this illness. It's an eye-opening moment to see how other people live when they're suffering from something you really have no idea about. I have a soft spot for documentary filmmaking because it really involves a lot of what you learn, as a journalism major and just journalism in general, because it's just the same thing, just a different outcome at the end. There are the bigger outlets like Vice and, those sorts of places that have their own style of this new narrative documentary, and, they have budgets for things and that sort of thing, but it's different because you're working within like a corporate structure at that point versus like a truly independent documentary film, which is where you get to, you know, actually define your story and you're not influenced by any outside parties. You know, the freedom comes with lack of money, and then it's the other way around. You have the money, but you don't necessarily have the same amount of freedom. It's one of those things that it's like if you want to do it, you just gotta go for it, because it's hard, very, very time consuming. But you know, if it's a passion and you go for it, then it's the reward is well worth it.